Hello and welcome to this episode of Math with Martinez. In this video, we are going to formulate and solve systems, including those that have three linear equations using matrices. Okay, guys, I have to confess, totally gonna nerd out in this video because I love matrices. You might be asking, what is a matrice? Well, if you're going to just talk about one, it's called actually a matrix. And a matrix is something that looks like this. A matrix is just a rectangular arrangement of numbers. And what we're going to see here is how we can actually take a system of linear equations like this one, where your A, B, C, D, E, and F are all actually numbers, and we can set up a matrix equation in order to solve for the values of X and Y. That's what we did in our previous videos, right? We talked about solving for X and Y using graphing or using substitution to solve, but now we're going to use matrices in order to solve. And a lot of that is going to require us to use our graphing calculator, because our graphing calculator is just one piece of technology that uses matrices really nicely. Actually, computers utilize matrices in a lot of their programming in order to run the algorithms that are required for all the things we do with our computers and other electronic devices. So this is really super cool stuff. So let's think here for just a minute. Okay, I want you to take a moment and just kind of notice here, this is A and B and E. They are in this first equation, and then you have C and D and F, and they are in the second equation. And so what's fascinating here is look at what we've got here. A and C are the coefficients of X. They are the coefficients of X. All right, meaning that they are the number values in front of X, or telling you how many X's you have. And then B, oops, I'm so sorry. And then B and D are going to be in this next matrix, and they are in the next column of our matrix. And what are they? They are the coefficients of Y. Then we've got this next matrix, and it's just got X and Y in it. It's just got X and Y in it. And then you've got this last matrix, and it has the values of E and F. Now, what we're noticing here is we have these three different matrices, and in between them, what is happening? Well, these are multiplying, and it equals this last one. So what we've done here is we've taken this system of equations and written it as a matrix equation, where A is our coefficient matrix. It's got all those coefficients in it. X is this matrix. The name of this matrix is X, and it's our variable matrix. Let's write this down. We've got our A matrix, which is the coefficient matrix. And then we've got our variable matrix. And then we've got our B, which is the constant matrix, what the equation is going to equal. So what we're going to see here when we're working with solving a systems of equations using inverse matrices, if this is true, then the way that we can write this is A, matrix A times matrix X is going to equal our constant matrix, which is matrix B. Now, what is it that we're actually trying to solve for? What are we trying to solve for when we're solving systems of equations? Well, think back with me here. What were we solving for? What were we trying to find? Each time we were trying to find the ordered pair X and Y. We were trying to find that ordered pair X and Y. So when we're working here with a system of matrices in order to solve our system, we again are trying to find X and Y. We're trying to find the values that would be our variable matrix. We're trying to solve for our X matrix. So how do we do that? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're trying to solve for that X matrix, then it's going to be your A matrix, but it's inverse, and then multiplied with B. Now, in pre-calculus, we will study more operations with matrices, and we'll do proofs about why this is true. But for now, I just want to kind of show you guys how to go about this process. So stay tuned for that in the future. But for now, what we want to be aware of is if you're trying to solve using matrices, you're trying to find that variable matrix. And that variable matrix is your coefficient matrix, its inverse, times your B matrix. So what we need to do is if we're going to solve this system using matrices, the first thing we need to do is write our system as a matrix equation. Let's go ahead and do that now. We want to start by writing our coefficient matrix. We want to write our matrix A. That matrix A is going to be a little square matrix, meaning it's like 2 by 2. And we want it to be first the coefficients of X and then the coefficients of Y. So let's go ahead and put those into our matrix here. Those coefficients are 7. Next to it would be 5. Down below in our next row would be -6. And then what is technically the coefficient of Y? An almighty 1. He's there, but you don't see him. That is then going to be multiplied with our variable matrix, which is that X matrix. And there you have it. And we'll set that equal to our constant matrix, which is that matrix B. Remember, matrix B are going to be the values that your system of equations, those constants that each of the equations equal. So those are going to be these values right here. That is -14 and -25. There we have it. So we have now written our system using this matrix equation formatting. Now, for part 2 and 3, we need our graphing calculator to be able to do this. So grab those graphing calculators and let's kind of backtrack for a moment and look at this previous page where we are going to have this tutorial of how to enter matrices on a calculator. So we've got this whole tutorial going through how to do this correctly. Let's look here at this little first portion here where it's just how do we put a matrix into our calculator? How do we go about doing that? Well, I'm going to do that just for this matrix A, and you guys can also try it for matrix B if you'd like, but let's just do one here to see how to do these 3 steps. So you got to grab your calculator. And here it is just on the computing screen, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to press the second button, that blue button, and then that little X to the -1 power. This is going to open up your matrix menu in your calculator. we want to, as our instructions say, arrow over to the right where it says edit, and then just go ahead and press enter. Now we're going to be able to enter into matrix A the actual elements in this matrix that are in your notes. So let's go ahead and do that. We need to get the right size because this matrix right now is not big enough. How many rows does matrix A have? How many rows does it have? It has 2. All right, and then how many columns does it have? Let's go ahead and adjust that. How many columns does it have? It has 4. So there we go. Now we've got the right size for this matrix. And I'm going to go ahead and put those elements in, just pressing enter in between each element that I input. And there you've got it. So you've got matrix A entered into your calculator. That's how you enter them. That's the 3 steps. Now, let's go ahead and look at the second part here. We now see how to enter them. Let's look at how do we actually find the inverse matrix, because that is what we need to do here as step number 2. We need to find the inverse of our coefficient matrix. I need to know what is the inverse of that matrix. And so let's go ahead and see how we do that. That's this second part right here. So let's try with matrix C how this would be done. Let's work to find the inverse of matrix C. So let's go ahead and input that matrix into our calculator. Let's input matrix C into our calculator. So I'm right here, my calculator still is on matrix A. What do I do to get back? What do I do to go back to the main screen? Just press second and mode, and that quits it and just takes you back to the home screen. But don't worry, it doesn't clear any information, just takes you back to where we typically work. So now let's go ahead and put that matrix in. So we want to go ahead and once again follow those instructions. Press second and then that X to the -1 to go to the matrix section. Your A matrix is still there, but we want to go down to matrix C. All right, go ahead and, oh no, I'm so sorry. What we want to do, we want to enter this one in, so we need to edit it. We need to go over to edit and then choose matrix C. Boom, because we don't have anything in there for matrix C yet. We can't even find its inverse. So matrix C is a little square matrix. It's 2 rows and 2 columns. -5, press enter. -11, press enter. 4, enter. 9, enter. Okay, we've got those values all in. Now, let's go ahead and follow our steps. We've finished step number 1, which was inputting that matrix. And why don't we go ahead now and go to press this step 2, which is to press second and that X1 once again. And we want to choose the matrix from the name menu. Which matrix? Matrix C. That's the one that we're trying to find the inverse of. Press enter. Now press the X to the -1 so that now what we see on our screen is C being raised to the -1. That is the way that we denote the inverse of C. Press enter, and there it is. That is the inverse of our C matrix, and we can go ahead and write that in our notes. C inverse is -9, -11, 4, 5. Now we've got these notes. You guys are going to have to come back to this and use this page a lot until it becomes muscle memory for you. But let's use what we've just found now to go about finishing the solving of this equation. So we did step number 1. This was step 1. right? We did that here. Step 1, write the system as a matrix equation. Boom, done. Now let's go about doing step number 2, which is to find A inverse. Let's go ahead and find A inverse. Let's see, what is A inverse going to be? That's where we need to go ahead and input this matrix A in our calculator, and then like we just did, we'll find its inverse. So let's do that now. Let's go to our matrix menu area, and I need to edit my matrix A. I need to edit matrix A because these are not the values I want in there. I want a 2 by 2 matrix. And what were those values? What were those values that we were working with there? All right, those values were 7, press enter, 5, press enter, -6, enter, and 1. There we go. Now we can go ahead and quit, and it'll take us back to our computing screen. And what we want to do is find A inverse. Let's go ahead and find that A inverse. How do we go about that? We go to our matrix menu, we select that matrix A, and then we go ahead and say, give me the inverse. Woo! Those are some crazy looking values, aren't they? Guys, why don't we change our settings so that it's not in decimal, but that what we have is in fraction mode. Let's go ahead and go to the mode. And answers. We want our answers to be in fraction. Now if I just go and highlight that again and then press enter, you see what I did? I just arrowed up until I had selected what I had before and then pressed enter. And now there it is, beautiful. Your calculator might have given it to you in fraction mode because it was already in that mode. Mine just was not. So I've got this matrix now that I needed. I'm gonna go ahead and write that in here. I have 1/37, -5/37, 6/37, and 7/37. There we go. Now we're ready for our final step. Our final step is to go ahead and multiply that A inverse by our constant matrix B. So what are we doing? We're saying that our X matrix is going to be A inverse times B, which is 1/37, 6/37, -5/37, 7/37, and we want to multiply that with our B matrix, which is -14, -25. And y'all, this is where we need our calculators once again. We're going to just use our graphing calculator to let it do this multiplication for us. So we've got our A inverse matrix. The only other thing we need, is to put our B matrix in. So let's go to edit and put that matrix in there real quick. We've got one row, but, we've got 2 in the row, 1 column. Yep, that looks right. And what were the values for B? -14, -25. Okay, go back to your home screen. What do we need to do? We need to take our A inverse matrix. Look, I'm just going to go up and highlight that. I already have it there, so just highlight it and then press enter. And now what do we want to do? We want to multiply, so click that multiplication. And we want to multiply it with matrix, which one? Matrix B. We want to take A inverse times matrix B, press enter. There you have it. 3, -7. 3, -7. Those are the values. And in the context of this problem, what does that mean? What is the solution to this system? Again, look carefully here with me. This 3 is the x value. This -7 is our y value. So we can go ahead and say that the solution, the ordered pair would be 3, -7, where 3 is the x value and 7 is our y value. That, ladies and gentlemen, would be your solution to this system that we found using matrices. That is it, guys. I hope that that was really helpful for you all. I know it was a bit longer and a lot of detail, so this is one of those videos you might have to keep like handy and maybe watch it while you do a couple practices so that you can feel really confident as you're responding. I know for me, when it came to matrices, I had to keep looking at my notes to kind of like get in the rhythm of it. But then once I had it, oh my gosh, I've loved matrices ever since. So that's all. If you have questions, please take a moment and share those now. And until next time, stay fired up.